Alright, so this is my last week in Manhattan, Kansas. I graduated on Saturday, so I had to go out with a bang. And it's still the holiday season, and I was trying to think of what's a good holiday recipe that's inspired by some kind of movie. And the only movie that came to mind was Elf. And I think one of the most distinct recipes, if you could call it a recipe, in that movie is spaghetti for breakfast with maple syrup. And that's all that Buddy had. He literally just poured the maple syrup on top, and then he added marshmallows and I think some Pop-Tarts. He kind of likes sugar. So I challenged myself to make that breakfast spaghetti into an actual dish that normal people could eat and would be edible. Those that have normal, sensory glands for things that are very sweet. So today we're going to be making breakfast spaghetti, and it's going to be breakfast for dinner because I think that's even better than breakfast for breakfast. And I'm going to make it even better with bacon, and we're going to have sausage, and we're going to have spaghetti, and it's going to be awesome because, it's Buddy the Elf. We got to make it great for him. So to start out, I have 4 ounces of breakfast sausage, and I'm putting this just in a nonstick skillet on my stove. And you could do anything from Italian sausage to any kind of pork sausage that you want to make, whatever you're interested in. And if you're a vegetarian, you could do tofurkey. I know that's a thing, and a toast sausage, if that's, I don't know what it's called. But I'm going to start off with some sausage, and we're going to kind of make what you would have a sausage gravy with for biscuits and gravy, but it's going to be more of a sauce rather than a thick gravy. And I'm just going to start rendering this out. There's a little bit of salt and pepper and a couple other Italian-ish seasonings in the breakfast sausage. But as we start to cook it down, I'm going to add a little bit of salt and pepper because we want to layer flavor into each layer of our sauce that we're making. Buddy the Elf is with me today, watching on, eating his spaghetti. I think he would approve of this. There might not be enough sugar for him, but I think for the rest of us it will be pretty good.
How would you make this vegetarian friendly?
So I would omit the sausage, and you could do anything from ground tofu. You could do, I think there's a bunch of different substitutes like tofu, bacon, and all that kind of stuff. Or just don't have the sausage at all. Just make a little bit of a sweet cream sauce that you're going to put over your spaghetti. Alright, and as the sausage continues to cook, I got it on about high heat right now. I'm going to throw my noodles into our boiling water because they take about 10 minutes to cook. And I cut them in half just by breaking them. That way they fit into the pan and they go nice on our fork because sometimes it's hard to spoon that around the fork when they're super long. Alright, so that water is on about high heat, and I'm going to cover it, keep it boiling, and then we'll be on about 10 minutes. So I'm going to set my timer so we don't overcook our pasta. We keep cooking our sausage down. We want it to start to get nice and crispy. We want it to be cooked all the way through as well, because we're going to start adding more to our sauce, and we don't want it to be raw while we're doing that.
If someone would like this breakfast meal but less sweet, what should they do?
So the only maple we're going to be adding is some mapled bacon that we're going to candy ourselves, and then we also have this maple reduction that we're going to spoon on top as well. So if you don't want that, completely omit the maple. It's not going to be extremely sweet though. It's going to be very balanced. That was my goal with creating this recipe, but we still want to pay a nod to Buddy with some maple flavor in there. But otherwise, you could totally just put the sausage gravy over pasta, and you've got some great breakfast spaghetti that way. Okay, I'm still cutting this up. I'm going to break it up to kind of smaller pieces, nice and crispy that we got going on in the pan. And I actually just bought some breakfast sausage links, and I took the casing off, and that's what I used to start this sauce with. Oh, meat down. But you could totally just get ground sausage or anything else that you have. This is boiling quite a bit, so we're going to turn it down a little bit. I don't want it to overflow with my mini tongs, because that's all I have in my college kitchen. But they're really cute. They're fun. Alright. Turn it up a little bit more.
How many servings can you make with this recipe?
This one's going to be about 2 to 4, depending on how hungry you are for breakfast for dinner, and depending on how much pasta you really like. I've got about 4 ounces of sausage, so that's enough for, I would say, 2 to 4 people, depending on how much you want. Breaking this up. I'm going to add a little bit of olive oil to help crisp this up a little faster. Here we go. So I always start off my sausage by itself in a pan, but this sausage was pretty lean, so I'm adding a little bit of olive oil to help cook it a little bit more. It needs a little more fat in the pan.
And can you use different types of sausage for this recipe?
Yeah, for sure. I think chicken sausage is a really good option, especially if you want something a little better for you, a little leaner. Any kind, I saw like blueberry maple sausage when I was at the store. If you wanted to go crazy with it, make it kind of taste like a pancake, you could do that. Any Italian sausage or any just normal pork sausage would be great as well. That's what we have the basis here with our sausage. Okay, so as this is just finishing up, I'm going to make some oat flour to thicken our sauce with. And you could totally do regular flour too, but I think it's kind of fun to have the oats. It's kind of like oatmeal, so we really have the breakfast theme going. And it's as easy as that. Why buy oat flour when you've got some oatmeal at home? This is going to be our thickening agent for our sauce. Yeah, nice and crispy. Look at that color. That is just loads and loads of flavor. It's going to be so good. Alright, so I'm going to add a little more olive oil because now that we're adding our flour, it needs to adhere to some fat, and that's what's going to start our thickening process for our sauce. Oh my gosh. You guys know me too well. That thing always happens. Alright, so we're going to sprinkle in about 2 tablespoons of oat flour that we made. And it's going to start absorbing into our sausage. And we're just going to toast it up a little bit. Oh, it smells really good. It kind of smells like oatmeal, but toasty. And it's going to get to like a toasted brown color like that. Once that starts acting away, we're going to add some pasta water to start adding liquid to our sauce. And the great thing about pasta water is it has starch. Yeah. It has starch built into it when you start cooking the pasta. So I really like to add that to my sauces because it makes it thicker and gives it more flavor too. I'm going to turn this down a little bit. We don't want our sauce to burn. Hopefully I don't set my alarm off again. Alright, add some more water. Depending on how thick or thin you like your sauce is totally up to you. I'm adding about a cup of pasta water to start out with. And as it continues to cook and sit here, we're going to keep getting it adding more water as we need to go. So my sauce is starting to come together now. My friend Gabby is here and she's going to help me make some maple bacon. You guys remember she's been on a couple of the episodes here. She's pretty cool.
Yeah, I'm alright.
Alright, so here I have 2 slices of thick cut peppered bacon. That's going to help keep this very balanced, not too sweet. And I just cooked it in my oven at 400 degrees for about 15 minutes until it rendered the fat, and it's not too crispy yet because you're going to brush some maple syrup on top of it.
I can do this. How much do you want me to...
I would just brush it.
Okay.
It's a nice little coating of it, I guess. Yeah, that looks good.
Okay.
Gabby, we have a request from Andrea to sing a song about spaghetti.
You know, I'm gonna have to pass. I wish I was that fun, but hey Ma, you wanna sing a song about spaghetti?
I don't know any songs. Andrea, what songs are about spaghetti?
Yeah.
Help us out here. I don't even know any. I don't even
Am
know
I
if
supposed to
there's
do both sides or just the top?
Just the top is okay.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know any songs about
I
spaghetti.
didn't even know that existed.
So how long is this preparation time for this dish?
So we're going to do this all about 20 minutes. It'll happen I didn't make anything ahead of time today except for the bacon. And that was just to make sure that it was cooled a little bit so that we could spread the maple syrup on it. So it's a nice fast meal when you're craving some breakfast. You have a bunch of random things in your fridge, maybe some leftover spaghetti from the night before. It's a great way to use that and make something different out of it.
Andrea recommended Spaghetti Cat.
Andrea is Gabby's sister.
Yeah, she's silly.
She just wants you to sing.
Yeah, I know. She just
live.
wants me to sing.
Are you well versed in the Elf movie culture?
Yeah?
Yeah,
Pretty good, right?
So I think so.
All right, this looks great. We're going to put it back in our oven for about 2 minutes
I did
at
it.
400 degrees. You did a great job.
Woo!
I think Buddy would be proud of your maple syrup skills.
Yay.
Alright, so as our sauce is continuing to thicken, I'm going to add about half a cup of milk. And this is going to make it nice and creamy. And I'm going to move over to my whisk, and we're going to whisk it up. Do you want to check the pasta? Do you know how to check if pasta's ready? Al dente, as they say.
I usually eat it. But...
Yeah, that's good.
Okay.
Just go for it and see if you want it cooked a little bit more or not.
Okay.
Okay, now that I've added the milk, and this is starting...
Tongs are hilarious.
They're baby tongs. We're going to add a little bit of nutmeg. That's going to add a little more of our holiday spice
Maybe just
to this.
a little.
Okay, we have like 2 minutes left on the clock,
Okay.
so that's
Yep.
good. And then we're also going to add black pepper. Whenever I get like biscuits and gravy from a restaurant or anything, the one thing I always check for is that it's like nice peppery gravy. I think it helps cut all the fat and all the other stuff you got going on. Make sure our flavors are balanced with our maple syrup and such. Alright, and the next thing I'm going to have you help me with is we're going to turn this on. In this pan, I have some maple syrup and some white balsamic vinegar.
Okay.
And we're going to make a little reduction, which is basically when you have an acid and a sugar and you reduce them together. So we want to make sure that we whisk it so that the syrup on the bottom doesn't get burnt because it has a lot of sugar in it. So it's easy to get burnt in there.
Okay.
Now I'm going to add a little more oats to our sauce over here. I'm excited for this.
Yeah, me too.
I feel like we should have worn our pajamas or something. It's
I
breakfast
know.
for dinner. It's the only way to
Really?
fully embrace
Yeah.
it. Alright. Let's try this again. Yep, that's good. Okay.
What type of noodles are you using, and what do you think would be best?
I'm just using spaghetti noodles. I think that's a really good way to go. It's Buddy's original pasta of choice. But any noodle that you can pour this really good sausage sauce over, I think is great. I would go for some kind of long noodle like spaghetti versus like penne or something like that.
Yeah,
I don't think it's
that, yeah.
I don't think it's the same. You
Not
can't-
that I know.
when you
though.
can't slurp it up, you know? Alright. We're still thickening up with our sauce. How's our reduction coming?
I think it's alright.
I think you're doing great. I'm going to turn it up a little bit. We want it to boil.
Okay.
And we have our spaghetti, which is looking yummy. I left it with just a little bit of a bite. That's what al dente means. And usually you finish spaghetti in the sauce that you're making, but today I feel like we should really show the pouring of the sauce over the
Yeah,
spaghetti.
definitely.
So that you can appreciate the spaghetti for dinner that you're having. Alright, I'm going to look at our bacon and make sure it's not burning. Oh no, we're good. It's caramelizing in there. Once again, our oven is at 400 degrees. I've got 2 strips of peppered bacon in the oven right now that I cooked beforehand, and then we brushed some maple syrup on top of it, and it's getting nice and candied right now. We also have some spaghetti that we cooked. I've got a sausage sauce that's going to go over the spaghetti, and then Gabby's working on a maple balsamic reduction that we're going to go over top too, because we're having maple and spaghetti in honor of Buddy the Elf from Elf.
Quay asks, what type of noodles are you using for the spaghetti?
I'm just using regular spaghetti noodles. You could do like thin spaghetti, do angel hair if you like a lot of pasta. I think that'd be really good. Or like linguine, fettuccine, all the Italian names. They'd all be good. And this one is actually a gluten-free pasta because Gabby here is gluten-free right now.
Yeah.
And so that's another reason that we added the oats to thicken our sauce rather than flour, so that it's gluten-free friendly. Alright, so our balsamic and maple is boiling. And you can like
Yeah, it
the
smells
acid
like
kind of like
balsamic.
comes into
Yeah.
your lungs a little bit. So we're turning it down, and it's just gonna simmer, and as it simmers it's gonna thicken, and it's gonna be like a little syrup on top. So we like basically remade a syrup
Just
with
don't
our
want me
maple
to.
syrup. If you want to, just make sure, like every once in a while, you can kind of stir the pan.
Okay. I don't have anything else to do.
Yeah, I mean, whisking is, as you can see, the joys of life.
Yeah.
So in our sausage sauce, we have breakfast sausage, some black pepper, salt, nutmeg, a little bit of pasta water, and some milk. And that's going to keep reducing as it thickens because of the oatmeal that we ground up and made homemade oat flour, because we're fancy like that. Okay, our bacon is looking delicious. I already set my fire alarm off once in this episode. Hopefully, I won't set it off again.
Andrea asks, what type of noodles are your guys' favorite noodles?
I like linguine because it's like in between fettuccine and spaghetti, so it's kind of flat, but it's not as big. Also, just look at this deliciousness. This is peppered bacon, and then with the maple on top.
Looks so good.
Perfect combination of salty and sweet.
I like the macaroni noodles.
Oh, I also like I think bow tie are fun
Oh yeah, they are fun.
because it's a bow tie, you know. Okay. The beauty of being in the college kitchen, and
All the space.
I have so much space in my kitchen. It's awesome. We're just gonna make room for this. It's hard because it's hot and I don't want to burn things. But it's okay. I know how to turn off my fire alarm if it happens, you know.
Yeah.
All right. Oh, that's really good. You did such a good job with this. Okay, so
Did it.
our balsamic and maple syrup, we did equal parts. It was about 1/4 cup of each. We brought it up to a boil, and now it's reducing, and it's reduced by about half of its size. So it kind of looks like maple syrup again, but it's not going to be as sweet as it was before. And I think, yep, that's a nice sauce. This is basically like a sausage gravy you'd put over biscuits, but it's not as thick, and it's more like a pasta sauce style. Okay, I'm ready to plate this up.
Yeah, I'm so excited.
We have our fancy pasta bowls here. Okay, where did the baby tongs go?
Right there, but
Oh, they're so small, I can't even see them.
they're just so tiny.
They're literally the smallest things. I got these in Ireland. It's one of my fondest memories is my baby
tongs.
baby
from
tongs.
Ireland.
Because what else do you get in Ireland, you know? Trying to make this like plated pretty like you would in a fancy Italian restaurant. A great thing too when you're making any kind of noodle, and if it sits for a little bit, you can put some olive oil over the top so that it doesn't stick, as well as when you're boiling the noodles, you can put it in then as well. All right. So we got our sausage sauce. It's kind of fun because you can like still see how the oats helped thicken it.
Yeah.
Even more of a breakfast idea with our oat flour that we made, that we milled ourselves.
Oh, that looks so
It
good.
smells really good. I'm excited. I just think that like breakfast is one of the best.
Yeah, I love breakfast for dinner.
It's even better than like in the morning, I think. I appreciate it because I'm more awake to actually enjoy it. you know?
Yeah, definitely.
What kind of cheese would you suggest to go with this?
I would do just like a regular cheddar cheese. I think that, we almost forgot about the bacon.
Yeah.
I think that nice saltiness will help cut the rest of the cream and the fat that you have going on in your sauce, and as well as the sugar from the bacon. All right. So the beauty of this thick cut bacon is that it's rendered very nicely, but we didn't burn it. And I did this with tinfoil lining my pan because cleanup is just
So
easy
much
peasy.
Yeah, how big is that?
Yeah, however much you want.
Okay.
Okay, you gotta get a close up. Look at that candied bacon.
It's so good.
It looks amazing.
so good.
You're really good at your knife skills. I like it.
Thanks. I cut a lot of potatoes.
Potatoes, if you can cut potatoes, I feel like you can cut anything.
Yeah, that's a little hot.
That's really good.
How would you add a little kick to this recipe?
You could add some cayenne or even some sriracha to your sauce. I think that'd be a great way to get a little bit of spice going on. There's some spice in the sausage as well. So if you wanted to do a spicier sausage, andouille would be good, or any kind of sausage. You can look at the ingredients. If it has some kind of pepper in it, it's going to be a little spicier. That looks really good. Okay.
Do you
Yeah.
want me to cut both of them? Or
It's
do
totally
you
up to you. I'm okay with whatever.
Okay, it doesn't matter.
Go
This
for
looks so good
Let's
that
do
I'm
it.
really excited for it. Yeah.
Make it look all pretty.
Yeah.
See, I love the cut bacon because you can
Yeah.
appreciate it for the baconness that it is.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. Take more if you want. Go for it, girl.
Yeah.
And I also think the peppered bacon is one of my favorites just because, that's another way to get a good kick was this thick black pepper. And now a reduction.
Oh, this looks so good.
Maple syrup. This is for you, buddy. But this is a little easier to eat. And
Yeah.
I don't think my teeth would hurt as much as it would if I had his straight up sugar fest. All right, if we want to be fancy with our spoons,
Yeah.
we can totally
Of
do
course
that.
we're gonna be fancy with our spoons.
Because we're college kids.
Yeah.
That's what
we
we
have
do.
to pretend sometime.
Yeah. Oh, this smells really good.
Yeah,
It smells
I'm
like
really
breakfast.
excited.
You could also spoon this over like waffles or
Oh, yeah.
pancakes or something instead of just regular maple syrup. That'd be good. Okay, perfect bite. We got sausage, we got bacon, we got spaghetti, and we got that reduction. Oh, my spaghetti left my fork. It didn't want to be
I'm
there.
having a hard time. Not very good at this.
Mm-hmm.
We'll see if I can ever get it.
Mm. That is really good.
Mm-hmm.
You can taste the maple on top of the bacon, but it's not overpowering. It's very balanced. But I feel like I'm like sitting at the breakfast table right now eating sausage and bacon.
Yeah, me too.
And the spaghetti's a perfect vessel. Buddy knew what he was doing with this recipe.
And it's like, I usually like my pasta really saucy, and this is just like the perfect amount of sauce.
Yeah, you don't need a lot of it. And the oatmeal adds a cool texture too.
Definitely.
Yum. Alrighty, well, I'm going to keep enjoying my breakfast for dinner. We'll see you next time. I'll be in Minnesota for home. Gabs won't be there, but I'll see all you spoonies there too.
Yep.
Bye. See you next time.